They were the Queen's most loyal companions, a furry symbol of royal tradition beloved by a nation. For 70 years, the gentle patter of corgi paws followed Queen Elizabeth II through the halls of Buckingham Palace, a constant, comforting presence. But after Her Majesty's death, her last two cherished corgis were handed to her most scandalous son. This is the shocking story of how the Queen's innocent pets became entangled in Prince Andrew's public disgrace, uprooted from their home and dragged into his downgraded life. For 2 decades, Royal Lodge was Prince Andrew's fortress. A sprawling, 30-room mansion nestled in the heart of Windsor Great Park, it was a potent symbol of his status as a senior royal. It was here that he lived with his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson years after their divorce. And it was here that he sought refuge from the growing storm of public outrage. In early 2021, as the Queen dealt with Prince Philip's illness, it was Andrew and his family who gifted her 2 new puppies to keep her company, a corgi named Muick and a dorgi, a corgi-dachshund mix, named Fergus. After Fergus sadly died just a few weeks later, he was replaced by another corgi puppy named Sandy, a gift for the Queen's 95th birthday. They became the Queen's constant companions, a source of comfort in her final years. The gift was a seemingly heartfelt gesture, a link between a mother and her so-called favorite son. No one could have predicted that in just a few short years, the quiet life of these royal pets would be turned upside down, caught in the crossfire of a scandal that would rock the monarchy to its core. The fortress of Royal Lodge began to crumble with a single name, Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew's friendship with the convicted sex offender had been a subject of whispers for years, but in 2019, it exploded into a full-blown crisis. The prince's attempt to clear his name in a disastrous BBC Newsnight interview did the exact opposite. His bizarre explanations and apparent lack of empathy for Epstein's victims horrified the public. It was a PR catastrophe from which he would never recover. He claimed he would step back from public life for the good of the monarchy, but the damage was done. The interview was the tipping point, the moment the walls of his privileged world began to close in. He thought his status made him untouchable. He was wrong. The consequences were swift and brutal. In January 2022, facing a civil sexual assault lawsuit from Virginia Giuffre, Queen Elizabeth stripped Andrew of his military affiliations and royal patronages. He was no longer permitted to use the style His Royal Highness. It was a stunning public rebuke. But the real fall came after his mother's death. With his brother Charles on the throne, the protection he once enjoyed was gone. King Charles III had a monarchy to protect, and Andrew was its greatest liability. In late 2025, as a new wave of damaging documents related to the Epstein investigation was set to be released, the king acted decisively. On October 17, 2025, Buckingham Palace announced that Andrew had agreed to give up his use of the Duke of York title. Though the title can only be technically removed by an act of parliament, the effect was the same. He was a duke in name only. Weeks later, the king went further, using a letters patent to formally strip his brother of the title of prince and the style of Royal Highness. He was now, simply, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The fall from grace was complete. The final blow was the eviction notice. For months, King Charles had been pressuring Andrew to leave the opulent Royal Lodge, a home far too grand for a disgraced, non-working royal. With his annual allowance cut, Andrew could no longer afford the upkeep, but he refused to leave. The release of new Epstein files in early 2026, which included allegations that Andrew may have leaked sensitive government information to the financier, sealed his fate. The king ordered him out. In early February 2026, Andrew finally vacated the 30-room mansion he had known for 20 years. He was exiled to the Sandringham estate in Norfolk, moved into Wood Farm, a more modest cottage, as his permanent, downgraded home of Marsh Farm underwent renovations. His ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, who had once shared updates of the Corgis, did not move with him and was left to find a new home of her own. And what of the Corgis, Muick and Sandy? After the Queen's death in 2022, it was confirmed they would be returned to their original givers, Andrew and Sarah, at Royal Lodge. Sarah Ferguson often posted loving updates on social media, calling it a big honor to care for the national treasures. In September 2023, she shared a portrait of the dogs to mark the anniversary of the Queen's passing, writing that caring for them brought back memories of the wonderful times they all shared. But with the eviction, their fate became a national question. The mystery was solved on February 10, 2026, when photos emerged of Muick and Sandy being walked, not by Andrew, but by his security team, on the grounds of his new, isolated home at Wood Farm in Sandringham. The two dogs, a living symbol of his mother's legacy and love, had been dragged with him into exile. They are now in the care of a man stripped of his titles, banished from his home, and facing a police assessment over his conduct. Reports suggest Andrew is clinging to the dogs, insisting his mother made her wishes clear and that caring for them is a sign of her trust. But many royal watchers feel it's inappropriate. Another grim chapter in this sordid tale. What do you think? Is it right for the Queen's most cherished pets to remain with her most disgraced son? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to stay up to date on the ongoing royal drama, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. The story of Prince Andrew is one of immense privilege and a spectacular fall from grace. He has lost his titles, his reputation, and his home. He is a prince by birthright only, a ghost haunting the edges of the royal family. And now, the Queen's Corgis, Muick and Sandy, are caught in the middle of it all. Once symbols of stability and tradition, they are now a poignant, living reminder of the chaos and shame Andrew has brought upon his family. They are the